Ready, set, go! Yeah!
Ah, okay. Alright. Come on, come on. Ah! Why is it that every single time I play Mario Kart, I get hit with a bunch of stuff and end up losing? Oh, I know, it has to be all the gimmicks that they add into games, like the shells and the bananas and the boosts and stuff like that. I mean, all you really need are just cars and a track. And since I'm a dork for the N64, I guess I'm gonna play some of those games.
We all know there are plenty of racing games on the N64, but I'm gonna focus on vanilla arcade-style racing games. I have these three today: Automobili Lamborghini, OffRoad Challenge, and Beetle Adventure Racing. Let's go alphabetically and start off with Automobili Lamborghini, which I'll call Lamborghini from now on because Automobili Lamborghini sounds like some sort of pasta. Now, if I could just break the illusion that I haven't actually played any of these before, I just want to say that out of the three games I played here, this one has to be the most realistic. Granted, all of them are meant to emphasize realism more than, say, Mario Kart or Diddy Kong Racing, but I got the sense that Lamborghini felt more like actually driving a car.
I am actually a pretty good driver. Well, at least until you see the next footage.
I mean, overall, the game handles well. Steering is mostly fine. Sometimes it's a bit stiff, but whatever. As long as I make these turns a little wider, I can adapt. Not like I could do anything about that.
I mean, the controls are pretty basic. A to accelerate, the stick to move, the C buttons to mess around with the camera, and I don't think the B button even does anything.
The manual says that B is brake, but how I drive, I don't ever use it, and it shows. Starting off, there are a few different cars to choose from, but the only difference seems to be color, so I'm going to choose blue. And starting the race is kind of bland. There's this sweet spot in order to get the best start, but I seem to have issues hitting it. The tracks can get pretty twisty with lots of turns, but at least the game gives you a heads up on where to go. There are shortcuts, but taking them puts you at a higher risk of spinning out, and it could very well take way more time than going a normal route. I blame this dirt road. Who takes a Lamborghini on a dirt road? Realism? Ruined. Another more realistic aspect of this game is that your car uses fuel and the tires wear out, so you have to make pit stops. I mean, I guess you don't have to, but worn out tires makes you lose control a lot more, so it's definitely a good idea. You go into a pit stop, and you have to very gently nudge the stick up in order to fuel up the car, or else you don't? Oh, and the tire changing is rotating the control stick. It's not so difficult, especially for me.
I remember getting lots of practice, and it's all thanks to Mario Party. So it's actually pretty easy.
You just rotate the stick and the meter goes up. I even tried to mess it up and I had trouble. I remember as a kid that I hated it, but that's probably due to being an uncoordinated noob factory. The different game modes kind of determine this as well. For normal play, you don't really need pit stops because there are only 4 laps. However, there is a time limit. A pretty strict time limit too. I failed quite a few times. Come on, just a little more. No. The championship mode though. 6 laps. 6 freaking laps per race. It's outrageous. So you really need to do pit stops. Luckily, the NPCs do it too, so you aren't necessarily falling behind when you do need a pit stop. Overall, a serviceable little racing game, I think.
Okay, next game. I'm not doing alphabetical order anymore, so let's do OffRoad Challenge. All right.
I feel like over the 3 games in this video, this was definitely the most fun to play. It's more stylized like an arcade game. After all, it is actually a port of the Midway arcade racer of the same name, so yeah. It's paced well, has lots of vehicles to choose from with lots of individuality, a wider variety of tracks, destructible environmental hazards, and even pickups. Like power-ups, not the trucks, but also the trucks. Unlike Lamborghini, the different vehicles have actual stats, and they do make a difference. I started off with the Punisher and I did okay, but one of my favorite things is that you use the money that you win to upgrade your car so you can do even better the next race.
You know, I seem to remember another racing game that had that particular mechanic. Oh yeah, it was Lamborghini!
Not the N64 one I just reviewed, but the old PC one. I wonder why they got rid of that. I guess we'll never know. Anyway, one of the things about this game is that for a game called Off-Road Challenge, there isn't much off-roading. In fact, the challenge seems to be staying on the road.
I still don't use brakes, get off my backs, it's either fast or nothing.
After some practice, I managed to win some money from races, and I can even sometimes pick up money on the tracks randomly, which is nice. You can also get extra nitros for that delicious boost. And they even have a super nitro in each level too. It makes you go whee! There's also this helmet that prevents you from... that stops the NPCs from... Will you stop? Dang it! That stops these jerks from running you over like a loaf of bread. Maybe, if I use the fastest car, I won't get run over as much. Well, I feel silly. So the only way to do this now is to try the biggest truck possible. Who wouldn't want to drive a monster truck in a race? Nothing can possibly stop me. And like many arcade games of the same type, they included a nice cardboard cutout of a lady to appease the male plebs.
And so finally, we come to our last game, Beetle Adventure Racing. I had never played this one before this review, and I didn't like it.
I think I heard decent things about this game, but I just couldn't get into it. Not after playing those other ones. Firstly, I was dismayed to see that there were only 3 cars to choose from without unlocking a bunch of stuff. The intro showed quite a few different cars, including a snazzy looking iridescent Beetle, which made me very sad that I couldn't use it.
On a side note, all these games require a memory card in order to save any data, so if you don't have one, you're getting the basic experience.
I chose the red one this time because it's medium in stats, and not knowing what to expect, I felt like this was the safe choice. Boy, was I wrong. First of all, the car doesn't handle well. It's like the Lamborghini, except I'm not driving at like 140 miles per hour where it makes sense. Any amount of speed in this car makes steering an absolute nightmare.
And yes, at first I wasn't using the brakes again, but I have driven a VW Bug before, and I have to say, they got the miserable feeling of driving one of those cars down perfectly.
There are pickups to get, but I was having such a hard time actually getting them, and most of them were bonus points or something, which I assume are used to unlock more stuff maybe? And nitro boxes, which send you careening into a wall half the time. Oh, and your car can explode too. It's kind of funny, but unnecessary. Yes, I see I drove into the lava. Poof. Thanks for that. And back to driving. Whoop-de-doo. Each race is only 3 laps, which is nice until you realize that each lap can take upwards of 7 to 10 minutes to complete. Why is it so long? Oh yeah, adventure is in the title. Let's make each map as long as stupidly possible for no real reason. The tracks you can play don't even have that much going for it. There are a few things to see, I guess, but you're so focused on trying to stay on the damn road that you'll likely miss it. Like, here's some helicopters, and here's a dinosaur that screams at you, I guess. Blink and you miss it. At least the graphics are alright, not many draw distance issues most of the time. My main gripe here is that there are dark tunnels, and for some reason, your car has no lights on it. So you're donking about in the dark hoping you're going the right way. I ended up losing the game because I couldn't see in this dumb cave here. Just for a lark, I tried the hard difficulty too, especially since I felt like I didn't give the game much of a chance yet. I even chose the fastest car I could get, and well, I couldn't even come close to passing a single NPC. In normal mode, I got first on the first 2 tracks. On hard, nope. I even broke reality once here too.
So if I had to rank these, I'd say that Off-Road Challenge is the best, followed by Lamborghini, and then Beetle Adventure Racing is the blast.
If you like Beetle Adventure Racing, good for you. You obviously have more patience for it than me. And there are still other vanilla racing games on the N64, like the Cruisin' series and Grand Prix Racing and stuff. So this is hardly a complete ranking.
And of course, much like many other racing games, they have unlockables and cheats in order to make them more replayable. So why don't we go over some of those now?
So for Lamborghini, there isn't a lot. It's mostly shortcuts to exploit. And the guide I found suggested just driving backwards in order to find them all. It also tells you how to unlock cars and how to boost works. Pretty basic stuff. Off-Road Challenge is where it's at. It tells you how to get the monster trucks, which is pressing the C buttons on the truck select screen, how to quick start and other basics, and then how to play the bonus tracks, which is something I never knew about until now. Brilliant. Obligatory footage of the tracks, and I have to say that both these tracks seem to be very similar to the Mojave and El Paso tracks, but without anything added for individuality. If I had to guess, I would say that these were test tracks the developers used in order to test for vehicle bugs, which I guess is nice that they included them as a hidden content, but ultimately unnecessary. Most of Beetle Adventure Racing's cheat guide is just how to unlock stuff, which mostly involves winning races. There are cheats, but they seem to be more for multiplayer. There was this one really useful tip though. Pressing L gets you immediately back on a track at cruising speed. I like that one for sure. This guide was obviously made by someone who actually likes the game, and I hope that if you use it, you do too.
I'm not one of those people though. I did not have fun playing Beetle Adventure Racing. So hopefully I could find something that I do enjoy playing, because otherwise, what's the point?
Hey again, thank you so much for getting to the end of yet another video. I hope you liked this one on Vanilla Racers for the N64, and if you like this video, please press that like button and leave a comment, and even subscribe if you really want to. Until then, I'll see you next time in the next video. For sure. Definitely.